So I'm gonna do a quick episode. Today's episode is actually gonna come from my own room, so I haven't been able to do it for a few days because down here in Florida we're not like the rest of the country right now, who's in a major winter storm. So I've been riding my motorcycle for the past few days, and yeah, that means I haven't gotten it in there. But so now that I finally got everything fucking uploaded, because Spotify's been a real fucking bastard, can't figure out how to fucking get a video to upload. I've met all their fucking requirements, converted the videos, done everything, trimmed the fucking videos, blah blah blah. Oh, error uploading. Converted to MP3 and it uploaded immediately. So I guess I understand that one. Like, Spotify's a music and podcast area, so we don't they don't specialize in videos, but like, come on, you know. And I also finally got YouTube, so I got my channel going up there, and it's that was a little easier. It's a pain in the ass because I had to get verified, and even then they still didn't like the videos being over 15 minutes, but whatever. So I finally got it all up. I figured while I'm here and I'm waiting on more videos to upload, I might as well get the next version out of what's on my mind. So with that being said, we're gonna talk about calories and fucking proportions, right? Like, so last year I lost over 100 pounds in 1 year. It was about 114 pounds. I barely missed the 115-pound mark. I was really pissed off about that. But I actually had to take a break from it, and I put about 40 pounds back on. The reason being, so uh, anytime you talk to a doctor or a nutritionist, a health, blah, 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 they're going to say, oh, rapid weight loss. Don't do it. Rapid weight loss is bad. Don't fucking do it. Blah, blah, blah. I can never find, any like actual stuff of why not to do it. They just say it's bad. Like, okay, well, why? What the fuck's going to happen? You know? So I did the rapid weight loss because one, I went into the doctor. He said I was dangerously close to being pre-diabetic. In fact, he said if I would have eaten before I went and got my blood work done, I probably would have been pre-diabetic. Um, so I had that, and then obviously you're always going to get told once you hit your mid, fucking 30s, oh, your cholesterol, right? Um, so I decided to make a change, right? I was over 300 pounds. I'm 5'11", and so I was over 300 pounds. I was just fucking massive, and so I made a change, and all I did was diet and exercise. I did. There's no fucking Wegovy, no Ozempic, no fucking nothing, right? Like all I did was age old diet and exercise. Now, with that being said, I did massive diet and exercise. Like I did stuff that most people probably couldn't fucking handle, and that's not to toot my own horn, but it's like I was working out at least 2.5 hours a day, uh, majority cardio. I was on average, including the workouts, obviously. On average, I was getting 25 to 30,000 steps a day, and then my diet portion. So I did an ultra low carb. I wasn't in ketosis by any means. Like that's just fucking impossible to get into almost. But I did ultra low. I was usually hanging out sub 75 carbs per day, grams of carbs or whatever. Um, and then I also was doing a what I call a progressive calorie deficit. So week one was my recovery week, right? This is based on a 4 week. So week one, I would go 1750 to 2,000 calories, right? And once I hit the key though is like once I hit 1750, that was it, right? Um, and then week two, I would go 1500 to 1750. Week three, it was 1250, and then week four was under 1,000 usually. Like that was the hell week, and that I was able to drop a lot of weight. I mean, on average I was dropping 20 to 30 pounds a month, just by doing that, and that's all it took. Now, everyone again, they're gonna be, oh, this is bad for you. This is bad for you. Nothing happened to me. Okay, so for one, the biggest thing I found, um, publicated or publications wise, was gallstones. So if you're not eating enough or not eating regularly, and you have like, I don't know, a hyperactive gallbladder or some shit, I don't know, you have too much acid in your stomach because you're not eating enough, so the acid just kind of sits there, and I guess that can lead to creating gallstones. Um, you'll know, like if that's you, don't do it, right? Or if you are gonna do it, make sure you eat more, like not more in quantity, more times, right? Like, so make sure that the acid in your stomach gets fucking used and diluted, blah blah blah. So that's pretty simple. But um, the one portion, and this is why I've gained back weight, because I had to fucking gain back weight, um, that nobody was able to fucking tell me about. I couldn't find a single fucking thing through ChatGPT, Gemini, Google, MSN, like nowhere I searched. And I even went and talked to fucking doctors, and I went and talked to a dermatologist and all kinds of shit. Nobody ever fucking told me about this. Rapid weight loss will actually cause not only your body to go into like starvation mode and then it like hangs on to shit. Yeah, it does that, to a point. Like, but I mean, if you're up there like where I was, I think I was at like fuck, what was I? I was near 40% body fat. I had a massive BMI, morbidly obese. It takes a little while to get there. Like, you can drop a lot of weight before you have to worry about your body going into fucking starvation mode. So I would not worry about that. But what does happen is there's a fat layer. It's called like the subepidural fat layer or some shit. And what it does is it keeps your skin lubricated. Like, so your fat is actually lubricating your skin. What's that do? It keeps you from getting itchy. I lost weight so fast and so quick that apparently it stole this fat layer. And when I tell you that I was itchy, I mean like I was a meth head, fucking tweaking. All right, like I was scratching until I was fucking bleeding. There was nothing I could do. I tried putting Vaseline on. I tried fucking every type of lotion you can imagine. I tried putting little lubrication socks on. Everything you could fucking imagine. And finally, I couldn't take it anymore. So I jumped off and I put back weight, and now like I'm finally stopping itching. So, put on about 35, 40 pounds back on, and now I'm going to do a nice slow weight loss, get back down to the weight that I want. So, um, now I also want to point out, um, I did this through cardio. Okay, now there's going to be people, if anybody does watch this, there's going to be people who are like, no, 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 you need to do weightlifting. You need to do weightlifting. You need to do strength training. That's where it's at. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, like, I'm not going to deny that. Like, yes, building muscle, increases, your, I think it's insulin or glucose resistance, whatever. It helps with blood sugar. It helps you, you know, look better and blah, blah, blah. The problem with it is time. So, like me, I was told, hey, you're pretty much pre-diabetic. I wasn't waiting around. Okay, so you got to think, like, if I would have stopped doing all the cardio and the 25 to 30,000 steps a day, if I would have stopped doing that and replaced it with purely weightlifting, it would have taken 3 to 4 times longer to lose that 100 pounds. Okay, so that's the key fucking component right there. Do what's best for you, and then not to mention, like, yeah, you can go to the gym and shit like that, but dude, I'm doing this shit in my fucking garage. Okay, I have an elliptical that was my go-to. Um, and then I would go and walk, and eventually, once I lost enough money, I would run around the block and do all kinds of shit like that. But weightlifting was such a very small portion. Now there people are going to immediately jump on here. Oh, if you don't strength train, then you're going to lose the muscle, and a lot of that weight loss is going to be fucking muscle. Blah 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 blah. Yes, we get it. Okay, I'm not telling you to be a lazy piece of shit. I'm saying determine which way you want to go and what pace you want to go at, and that should determine how you want to lose weight. So, getting a little off tangent there, that was just, my kind of credentials and stuff. But what my real point is right now is the calories and the proportions. These are things that I learned while, going through this weight loss journey, and things that as I'm starting to calorie count and do all of that shit again. I wanted to point out something that pisses me off, and this is 100% on the FDA, right? Like the Food and Drug Administration, because they are the ones that fucking make these calls. They're the ones that allow some of this bullshit. If you've watched my previous ones, like the artificial dyes and shit, they're the ones that set these fucking priorities and set, these requirements that companies are doing. Okay, so one thing, we'll get this one out of the way. There is, with the exception of water, there is absolutely nothing in this fucking world that is calorie free. If you put it in your body and it is not water, it's not calorie free. They are allowed to manipulate their servings and stuff like this. Okay, and this is where it is. So, per the FDA, anything under 10 calories, or no, anything under 5 calories, they don't have to list. It's essentially, uh, 0 calories. So they're allowed to do this. Now, what happens most of the times is in the U.S. and other countries too, but other countries aren't as bad about it. In the U.S., the food companies also allowed to manipulate their serving sizes. Okay, and that's the key component, because if they go and they're wanting to make a sugar-free gum or some shit like that, right? And they do all their calculations and they come to realize, like, oh shit, we want it to be 0 calories, but we're actually over 5 calories. What they'll do is they'll change their fucking portion size, and then they can claim that it's 0 fucking calories. If you've ever looked at carbonated like water or some shit, and it's like, oh yeah, 0 calories, but then if you actually look on it, there's a second nutrition label and it claims like if you drink the whole bottle though, it's actually 10 calories, right? And yeah, it's only 10 calories, whatever, but um that's the point, right? So you have to pay attention to the serving size of it, because that's how they're gonna get you. That's how they fucking manipulate you. And the FDA allows this shit to happen under our, right under our fucking nose. And um, so something that I was running into a lot is, when you're trying to measure certain things out, because they don't fucking list all of this shit. And this is the part that people fail in weight loss, because they make it so goddamn complicated, is they don't give you all the information that you need. For example, if you look at uh, the serving sizes of rice or beans, well, is that cooked rice or is that uncooked rice? So when you look at a nutrition label of uncooked rice, okay, and it says 1 cup, okay, well, is that 1 cup cooked or is that 1 cup not cooked? Because it's two different ones, right? And then you're expected to like figure it out on your own, and everybody fucking does it different. And nobody just like comes out and posts it like, hey, just so you know, this is a calorie count for cooked. Like they don't, unless it's already like the microwavable or whatever that's already technically been cooked. But that's it. And they do this across the fucking board. Popcorn, rice, beans, fucking all kinds of shit. Steak, meat. It's the same fucking way. So is it cooked meat or is it uncooked meat? So you have to sit there and you have to look out for that shit. Um, but the problem, because I'm not just bitching to bitch, like obviously there's a solution. A lot of other countries make their proportions the same. And that's kind of the ideology right there, right? Like people think like, oh well, this is one serving, so I have to eat one serving. No, you don't. No, you don't. So what the other people do, and I think like the UK and some others that have been beating the shit out of us in proportions and health and stuff like that, the folks that have banned artificial dyes way before we were even talking about it, they make all servings the same. Not servings, but all proportions. Um, so if you look at peanut butter and you look at Twinkies and you look at steak, all of them will be measured in 100-gram increments. So this is your calorie count for 100 grams of Twinkie. Here's your calorie count for 100 grams. And now it starts training you, right? Like, so you will always recognize what 100 grams looks like. And if you want to use imperial, then use ounces, right? Like, I think the pretty standard is 3 to 4 ounces. That's about the equivalent of, uh, metric system. But if we were to do that, so instead of looking at it, then oh well, it's only 180 calories. Okay, fantastic. This is on peanut butter. So if you actually look at it, it's 180 calories for 32 grams. That's it, right? But then you go and look at a steak, and it's like, oh well, this is measured in ounces, or you go and look at ice cream and it's measured in something completely different. That's how they get you, right? Like, so the FDA is allowing these people to claim certain things. Oh, I'm low calorie. It looks low calorie, but you actually got to look at the all right, sorry about that. I don't actually know where we left off, but my daughter decided to she wanted to play checkout stand, so that obviously took priority over my current rant. um, I think where I left off though is just the proportions, and you go overseas and you go to some of these other countries and they lay out everything per the same size, right? So everything is counted per 100 grams, per 50 grams, whatever the fuck it is, wherever you go, right? So the US doesn't do that, and the FDA, allows this to happen because then they can claim certain things, right? Like, so as long as they meet certain criteria, they can claim, oh, this is a low calorie. Well, it's actually not low calorie. Like, yeah, the serving is low calories, but if you look at the actual fucking serving, it's not, right? Like, you know, if you look, and people have done this, so I have a couple things that I'm going to go on a rant here. So this is peanut butter. This is just peanut butter straight out of Aldi. 180 fucking calories. 180. So this is actually a really high calorie, and a lot of people don't fucking get that about peanut butter. They think, oh, it's peanut butter, it's healthy. Okay, if it doesn't have a shit ton of preservatives, sure, it's healthy. Sure, it has healthy fats and oils in it, right? It's not fucking low calorie though. It is not, because you look at this and it's 180 calories for 2 tablespoons, right? So that's 90 calories per tablespoon. So just to put that in perspective, and people really need to look into this if they're going to do weight loss and shit like that. When I do the elliptical in the morning, right? So I'm about 215 right now, 215, 220, fluctuating, and I'm 5'11". When I jump on the elliptical, based on my Samsung watch and what the elliptical is saying, neither which are right. Nothing's right. We're one of the Samsung's more accurate than most. Apple has actually been determined to be like the farthest off. But anyway, so it says in a 30-minute time frame, I burned 400 calories. Absolute bullshit. I didn't burn 400 calories, and people need to understand that, especially in weight loss and shit. But I probably burnt actually like 300 calories or some shit. So you need to put that in perspective here. So if I burn 300 calories in 30 minutes, all right, that's 100 calories per 10 minutes. So one fucking tablespoon. So if you eat 1 tablespoon of peanut butter, that'll take you 10 minutes of running on an elliptical or a treadmill or some shit like that. So think about that. There's certain things that just aren't fucking worth it. In my weight loss journey, peanut butter, most cheeses, they're just not worth it. Using fucking oil. People are like, oh yeah, it's 0 calorie cooking oil. Motherfucker, you ain't using it. If you actually read again the serving size of cooking oil, and it's like a quarter second spray. A quarter second spray. Like, that's not even enough oil to cover half the fucking pan, right? So I use it. 99% of things you can cook in water. When I cook my egg whites and shit in the morning, I just cook in water. But one other thing, while we're on the servings, is you have to understand how they're manipulating you in other ways. So, per the FDA, there's a law or a rule, whatever the fuck you want to call it, that says you have to do certain things to be able to claim like high protein. And this is where I'm going to show an example of it. So, everything's based on a 2,000 calorie a day diet, right? So that allows you to do certain percentages. So here, the Premier Protein, I'm not sponsoring them or anything like this. This is just my wife being basic white girl with her pumpkin spice shit here. So everyone's seen these though, and they claim, 30 grams. 30 grams of protein. What you have to watch for is when you go to the nutrition label, okay, down here where it says protein, it says 30 grams. Now, in order to claim high protein, they have to list a percentage. The reason they have to do that is there are certain chemical processes that can manipulate the testing process, right? So it can say, oh yeah, this is 30 grams, and it's not actually 30 grams of protein. To the test, it's 30 grams of protein, but it's not. It's not usable protein. So you can always do this very easily. 99% of the time this has worked so far. So if you look at the grams of protein, which on this it says 30, and then you look over at the percentage, right? It says 60. So double the grams of protein, and that should be your usable percentage, okay? Now, here's another protein drink I kind of like. It's a little strong, but it's a zero sugar one. I got this at Sam's Club or some shit. So it's just 30 grams of protein, but they don't claim to be high protein, and that's the key. That's the key. They have to claim it. If you look at it, it says 30 grams, right? So 30 grams of protein, but notice there's no percentage there. There's no percentage. Now, why is that? Well, that's because whatever the process is to put that 30 grams in here doesn't actually give you 30 grams. That's why they don't claim high protein, and that's why they don't fucking put the percentage there, because they don't want you to actually read into this. Now, this is next level conspiracy shit here, obviously. So let's go back to our peanut butter. This is an example. So they list right here 7 grams of protein per serving. You come down into the nutrition label, and there it is again, 7 grams of protein. But you look over at the percentage and it's 7. So this one is 60% with 30 grams. So you doubled the grams of protein. This one is 7 grams protein, 7%. What that means is you're actually only going to get about 3.5 grams per serving. Okay, that's the key. 3.5 grams of actual protein, like usable fucking protein that your body can use. So you need to make sure you always check that. So if you're buying one of these high protein things, you need to verify that the percentage is double the grams, right? And there's there's a cookie company, I think it's like Larry something, or anyways, I seen they actually have been putting a few lawsuits, maybe one or more, because they're falsely claiming high protein, and it turns out it's not high protein. So, with that being said, so kind of just to summarize everything I just said, it's like, it's bullshit that we can't have universal serving sizes. I think that would help the obesity pandemic in the U.S. Is if people start seeing like, we're Americans, so let's use ounces. Put all serving sizes in 4-ounce quantities. Okay, your Twinkies, your fucking zebra cakes, your steaks, your potatoes, everything. Let's make it a common fucking value, right? Like a common portion size. And then if you look into like this going way later, but if you look into like Weight Watchers or any type of nutritionist, and I'll go on a rant about those assholes later, but they say like, oh, a serving size is about the size of your fist or some shit, and like, now RFK's redone the, food pyramid and shit, but like, so let's do that, right? Like, so how many calories is in this size, right? Like, and if we did that, then I think people in the U.S. would become more conscientious of, the actual fucking calorie content of these fucking products, because it's like, I can say anything's low calorie if I just, make the fucking portion small enough. I can say a slice of cheesecake, is only 100 calories if I fucking, make a serving size 1 fork, right? Like, it's not that hard to do that. So, anyways, that's my rant for today. And as I keep these going, if anybody wants to, has a question or wants to, comment, talk to me or whatever, call me out, call me a dumbass. I don't give a fuck. I don't do these for anybody. So, let me know. All right. Thanks.